Good afternoon. How are you today? The sun is out. It's in the 50s, and who knows? We may yet get to spring. But it's nice we get a chance to rest in between snowstorms and 19-degree temperatures. Talking about the changing seasons, we have Eric Trump is in the news, and he was on with Hannity speaking in kind of a word salad, attacking, at least that's what it seemed like he was trying to do, attacking the state AG in New York for going after good old dad and the family and chasing their accountants away, and how it's all so unfair and how they're victims. Pretty interesting stuff. And well, we don't expect much from Eric Trump, but what we have when he protests as he did is we have the temperature for the family and how they feel about what's going on. And they're very upset about what the AG is doing, and they've been trying, in my opinion, to cast our direction toward what John Durham, who is the U.S. attorney who was appointed by Mouthpiece Barr to investigate the investigators. And the best that he could come up with after all the time he was messing around, and at one point, one of the assistants said she was going to quit because she thought there was a political angle to what they were doing. And so what he finally did is he's got an indictment against a fellow who went to the Justice Department, talked to the FBI, and told them he thought there was a connection between what the Russians were doing with computers and interfering in our election. And the complaint is that he didn't disclose that he worked for the Clinton campaign. Now, apparently it was known to the FBI they worked for the Clinton campaign. So the question is, how material is that? But I don't know what the motion practice has been in court. But anyhow, with this background, we have Durham files a motion attacking, he claims, an alleged conflict between Sussman, the defendant, and his counsel, and says they have to waive it or they can't go forward. Well, here's the kicker. Before this motion was filed by Durham, they had already said that the defendant waived any possible conflict. And so there really was no issue. So why would Durham file something in court about a conflict that didn't exist by the agreement of the defendant? Because he wanted to add, I don't remember how many pages, 6 or 7 pages of accusations, and get that out into the gossip mill and perhaps prejudice any jury that might be selected. So that's where we are, and that's where incompetently Eric Trump was trying to dish on this subject. You want to look at other things. You have the White House. We're now seeing the text messages on January the 6th that Meadows collected. And, it's the usual collection, and it's talking about what are you doing, and you should be doing something else. And these are probably the more honest moments of the Republican maniacs who then fell into lockstep with the insane lying defense about, we were just exercising our legal right to challenge electors when there were no challenges founded upon any facts to make against these electors. And that's basically why Pence, in the end, he just counted them as the Constitution provides and said that Biden was the winner. But this was after a riot and an attempt to overthrow the government involving all of these people. Now I come to the fact of the investigation. There are 2 issues I think you should watch now. And the investigation, the only one that we know anything about, is the one on the Hill, and that is the January 6th Special Committee. And there are 2 things about this that concern me. One is, would you ever in a million years give immunity to Rudy and let him tell you lies? That's number one. And then the other question is, why should you give immunity to anyone and compromise possible criminal investigations? But a second issue that appears benign also concerns me. And that is, if you're really talking to 300 witnesses, and a number of these are critical witnesses to prosecute, and you're memorializing this in notes and transcripts, and then these witnesses need to be called in an actual criminal prosecution, all this material will be used to suggest any errors they may have made were conscious lies. And so basically, interviewing so many witnesses in an investigation that can't go forward as a prosecution and is not conducted with the discipline of a grand jury investigation and is not conducted in such a fashion as to make sure the witnesses refresh their recollection so that they could make errors of memory that would look like something worse than just errors of memory. So I'm concerned that we have a committee that's, at ramming speed, collecting information that might cure the curiosity that we may have, but may not be usable to prosecute anyone, not only in the way it's collected, but by the fact that Rip Van Garland is not doing anything about it. So those are a couple of my thoughts today on this warm day. And you can hear the waters below. And so I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.